Okay, well, this is going to be my dramatic reading of the horse fic at 3:30 in the morning, and I'm going to put on some very seductive music to get us in the mood. Okay, here we go. Fuck you, tab. I have too many porn tabs open right now, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. In a British accent, too. Because YOLO. I slipped into the barn where the horse for the show was being kept. I had no idea why the director had felt the need to bring one in. I looked around, checking that no one was around, and walked towards the beast, smiling. "Hello, boy," I whispered softly, not knowing his name. I reached out and stroked his head, smiling as he leaned into my touch. Such a pretty horse. He neighed, and I smiled, stroking his snout. I'd always had a strange fantasy involving a horse. Well, not always. Since I'd seen a guy horse in a field. It had been a black stallion, and my eyes had been drawn to his very large dick. For weeks I'd thought about it. It was all I could think about, and I still thought about it now. That's why I was here now, because I saw an opportunity to finally indulge in my fantasy. Sure, it was with a different horse entirely, but that didn't matter. I slipped into the stall, biting my lip as I sank to my knees, unsure exactly what I was going to do. I mean, yeah, I wanted his dick, but I wasn't sure if there was anything I should, do. I shrugged, deciding it was best to just go for it. I got down on my knees, carefully getting into under him. I licked my lips, gazing at the horse's dick. It didn't look fully hard, though it was tricky to tell. Regardless, I settled in position and leaned close, leaning in. I started licking along the shaft. I had lots of practice with guys, so I just used that as a basis for what to do. I kept licking him, hearing the horse make quiet noises as his length hardened. It tasted different to a guy's dick, but though it wasn't unpleasant. After a while licking, I gazed at his full length, amazed. It was so much bigger than the biggest guy I'd ever seen, even bigger than those huge post rockets. He was at least twice as big as the biggest I'd had. I swallowed, knowing I couldn't take it all. It wouldn't stop me from taking as much as I could, though. I pulled off my t-shirt, tossing it aside, then took his length in hand. I held it still and parted my lips, taking the tip into my mouth. I slowly took him down, quickly realizing that girth was just as much as a problem as length. I managed about 3 inches before the stretch of my lips started to hurt, so I improvised. I sucked on those first few inches, using my hand to stroke the rest of him. My tongue danced over his skin, and I sucked, my hand stroking him as best as I could. My hand had the same problem as my lips, and I could barely wrap my fingers around it. Still, I did not let that stop me. I felt this rush go through me. I mean, I was finally doing it, really doing it. Finally doing the thing I'd thought about for years. I smiled around him, my own dick twitching in my jeans. Later I'd deal with myself. If I tried now, well, my focus wouldn't be on him. I may accidentally hurt him, and I didn't want that. So I left my dick alone and kept sucking on it and stroking on his. I reached my other hand for his side, stroking his fur gently to calm him down, even though he seemed content to let me go on. He made the occasional noise, which I took to mean he liked what I was doing. I realized then that this would likely be the first time he'd had anything like this done to him. Horses didn't seem like they'd be able to give each other a lick, maybe, but even that seemed difficult. He'd certainly never been jerked off before. I smiled at that thought, that this would be the first for both of us. I kept suckling his length, purring around him. I kept bobbing, twisting my tongue, and trying to sense when he was close. The problem was that I had no idea what I was looking for. I mean, with a guy, there would be clear signs. His breath would become faster, his grip in my hair tighter, his dick would twitch more, or hell, he'd just come out and say it. So I just kept on swallowing down the bits of pre-cum that leaked out of him. The horse let out a sort of whiny noise, which I did take as a good sign, and then he sort of just barked. And then I got my first taste. His dick pulsed, the hot, salty fluid filled my mouth. The taste was so strong that I pulled back, getting hit in the face with it. I quickly closed my eyes, feeling jet after jet hit me. Holy fuck, it was just never ending. I turned my head a little, wanting it to cover me, my whole face. I felt it land over my cheeks, across my eyelids, over my forehead. I felt it land in my hair, making the strands stick together. I let out a soft sigh of contentment, tasting him on my lips. The jets were petering out now, his large dick twitching in my hand. I cracked one eye open, watching the last of the cum ooze out, his length softening. I smiled, leaning up to lick the last few drops, soft pants leaving my lips. I leaned back against the floor, content and covered in cum, fantasy fulfilled. Fuck. I instantly turned to the source of the comment, a grinning Don standing there, phone aimed right at me. I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. After all, what could I say? What explanation could I give? His lips quirked into a smirk, and then I heard the click of the phone taking pictures as he got closer. He knelt down, making sure to get a good shot of the cum covering my face, before speaking again. That was so fucking hot. He gestured to my face, licking his lips, and that looked really sweet too. I blushed, though was sure he couldn't see. I moved from under the horse and stood, giving him an affectionate pat on the side as thanks. Then returned my attention to Don. He just smirked, leaned in, and licked some of the cum from my cheek. So salty. He licked his lips, looking over me before whispering, "Come on." I nodded dumbly and followed out, glad it was dark. I had a feeling from the look in his eyes that this night was far from over for me. I'm gonna fucking pee. Okay, wow. I did this for you guys. See, I really love you, okay? Bye. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did.